Hi, my name's Tracy, and I'm a Chegg tutor who specializes in psychology as well as a few other areas. And today I want to talk about the observer-expectancy effect. And that's something that is often talked about in terms of research, but also has a lot of implications in other areas. So the observer-expectancy effect is when somebody is watching the behavior of somebody else and reacts in a way that makes a certain behavior more likely to occur. So if we think about in research studies, if a researcher thinks that a intervention given to a certain participant is going to be beneficial, they may treat that person in a different way than the participant who doesn't get that same intervention. And it may be that the way that they're being treated differently actually leads to better outcomes. It's not the intervention itself. So the researcher might not realize they're doing this, but if they're giving some extra attention to a participant that's receiving the intervention or whatever else it may be, then that participant may have better outcomes, but unrelated to the intervention. So that's why in terms of research, it's very important to try to overcome the observer-expectancy effect by having double-blind research studies where not only do the participants not know what condition they're in, but the researcher doesn't know as well. So that way they're not able to treat the participants in different ways, unknowingly, in ways that will influence the results. But there are also other implications for this. So, for example, we think about teachers and the way that teachers treat students. If a teacher is told that there's a certain group of students that are better performers and they're more likely to achieve, then a teacher may treat those students differently from the other students. They may call on them more in class, may offer them some more help, may view them more positively and treat them nicer, and that can actually lead to the better outcomes, better academic performance, unrelated to however the student was doing previously, more related to how the child is treated because of the teacher's expectations. Here's a commonly talked about historical event called Clever Hans, where there was a horse that was believed to be able to do some basic math. And it was actually found that the owner of the horse was reacting in a certain way when the horse was able to indicate the correct number. So the horse would kind of count upwards, and as soon as the horse reached the right number, that the owner of the horse reacted in a very mild way, but the horse was sensitive enough to pick up on it and know that that was the right answer and would stop counting. So everybody kept assuming that the horse was able to do the math and was able to come up with the answer, but it was found later on that the actual cause was the owner's reaction to the horse and the expectation that it would get the right answer. So it applies to animals, it applies to humans. We can think about how it affects things like if we're doing neuropsychological assessments, if we're working with a child who has to answer questions, if we're reacting differently if they get the answer right versus if they get it wrong, then that's an indicator that can affect their behavior. So there's a lot of different things that need to be taken into account with the observer expectancy effect. And you can even think about it in terms of your own life, in ways that you react to people. So for example, if you think about somebody that you feel like is rarely nice, if you assume that they are nice and you are more likely to be nicer to them, then they're more likely to be nice to you back. So by being nice to them, you may be causing them to be nice, which kind of confirms what your belief is. It's sort of a self-fulfilling prophecy, so to speak. Or alternatively, if you think that somebody's mean and you're on the defense when you're interacting with them, that may put them in the position of feeling offended, and then they're going to be more likely to be mean, and then you're again kind of leading to changes in the behavior that confirm what it is that you are expecting. So think about it in terms of your own life and the ways that we interact with one another socially. The observer expectancy effect really plays a strong role in a lot of different things we do. So in terms of the actual definition of the observer expectancy effect, we talk about it very often in terms of research. It also has implications in terms of clinical practice, but it also is very relevant to the way that we interact with one another throughout our daily lives. So hopefully this has been a helpful introduction to the observer expectancy effect. By all means, if you want to go into it more in depth, I'm happy to schedule a session with you. You can find a link to my profile at Chegg down in the description, or if I'm not available, there are plenty of other tutors who would be happy to meet with you as well. So until we have that session, hopefully this has been helpful, and take care.